everybody, it's Matt from the house. I'm here with Jayson from Burton, and I'm also here with Dave Downing, and we are actually going to show you a little bit about the StepOn and why it goes way beyond convenience. Let's check this out. All right, so obviously the StepOn is an easy system to get in and out of, and it does make snowboarding easier in the long run. But there's actually a lot of performance features compared to a regular binding that a lot of people don't realize. Dave, right off the bat, you actually had a lot of hand testing some of this stuff, and why don't you help give us a little bit of a run through as to exactly how performance oriented this is, not just convenience oriented.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around it when I first got a hold of it and started riding it. I rode some StepOn stuff in the 90s, like we might have all did. I didn't really like it. I got on this and I started to like it. And I had to kind of figure out why I liked it, you know? Yeah. I had to go back to that old StepOn stuff and why I didn't like that. Mainly, you know, like the old StepOn stuff was held in underneath your foot, kind of down in this area, and usually there was a metal shank under your foot or something like that, and you're held in here and you're trying to control your snowboard that way. Burton, what they did with this system, and really it came back to Jake, it was maybe 10 years ago, he came to the engineers at Burton and said, hey, we gotta figure this out. We gotta make a convenience binding system that also has performance characteristics in it. And then they really started looking at, you know, what a regular binding does, you know, a regular strap binding, I should say, and seeing how the strap actually pulls your heel back, your boot back into the heel cup of the binding and the high back, and then, you know, the toe strap is keeping your toes down. So once they remove those straps, you know, they basically just attached you to the heel cup of the binding, and then just with these two cleats just snapped your toes in for your toe strap. And then what that did was the performance of it, like when I started riding it, I was getting this really cool response, really on your toe side turn. It was because, you know, you're pulling from the back. So when I'm doing a toe turn, I'm pulling from here instead of pushing on a strap to make my board do what I want it to do. So the performance aspect of it is really good in that manner. You know, with the toe cleats, you're snapped in. So when you're doing a heel turn, you know, you're totally locked in doing a heel turn with the high back too. It's very similar high back as a normal high back. The performance is really good. It's not just convenience. You know, that's why I ride it, is because of the performance. I think the comfort too, you know, of not having straps on my feet. I can ride all day and I don't have these tons of pressure on my ankles and straps and stuff. So that's kind of why I like it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool system. And, you know, one thing that I always tell people too is when you look at a regular binding, especially, you know, on your heel side edge, which is always harder to carve on, you're pushing on your high back, which is pushing down on your heel loop, and you're actually lifting your toe side edge, but you're doing it from your heel side edge. And with this, obviously we're clicked into the back, so when we go onto our toe side edge, we're lifting the heel side from the heel side. But again, that toe is actually locked in here. So when you are leaning back, you're not just pushing back on the high back, you're actually lifting the toe edge from the toe edge. So you're actually getting better leverage there as well. And it is just like you were saying, it's a pretty cool system that goes way beyond just, oh, I can just step in and go.
Yeah, I mean, it is really easy, you know, getting in, getting out, super easy. The performance of it, the riding aspect is why I like it. I know you ride it too, Jayson. But.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on it for about 5 years now, and it was just kind of one of those things, like the first time I rode it was, you know, when the Deep Thinker came out, and I was like, I'm gonna just try the whole thing. And, you know, I got halfway down, you know, a small hill, and it was like 20 seconds into the run, I'm like, this board is rad. Wasn't even thinking about.
You didn't know if it was a rad board or was it?
It was more like I could totally feel what the board was doing.
Right,
you know, that was kind of the thing with the old StepOn systems, is that you couldn't feel what the board was doing because it was just such a hard, you know, mechanism that just was like a rock underneath your foot. You couldn't feel anything. This is just normal.
Same base plate as a regular.
Same. Yep. And then now we're getting more boot, you know, models. We got 5 men's boots, like 4 women's boots, so you can really dial in. Like I actually like the softer.
For sure.
And the starting out, it started with this because it was the most familiar. It had the strap there. You know, then they started riding it looser, and it was just like, then it got to the point, it's like, like you said, you just ended up
you don't really need the strap. You know, some of our models, the Photon has a strap, Ion has a strap also. You know, the strap just kind of puts pressure on your foot. It also maybe makes the boot fit a little better, but it's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
Because it's not attached to the binding. You really don't need it that tight. You know,
No.
I found, like you were saying, you just don't need it that tight. You can kind of ride it loose. You know, it's kind of a mental thing for a lot of
Yeah.
people. Like are used to straps. You know, if you've been riding straps for a long time, you're like, wait a minute, I don't have straps on my
Where's
feet.
my straps?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of a mental thing too for those two models, the Ion and the Photon. But I ride the Swath boot, which doesn't have a strap.
Nice, easy, smooth ride in that thing. Yeah. And the cool thing too is now that there's 3 different bindings.
Yes.
So I know there's a mathematical equation, but you got 3 bindings, you got 5 boots. That's how many different combinations
There's a
there
lot
are.
of combos there.
I'm not a math guy, so I don't know. I don't know what the equation is to figure that out. But there is. You can really, really customize your ride and basically say like, oh, I like this with the Ion or this with the Photon, or and you know with those different stiffnesses and softnesses also with the boots and the different bindings.
I ride this one, the Genesis, super comfortable. The hammock high back is really, really comfortable. Killer with this new 2.0 toe cleats, makes it getting in and out just so easy. Like it's just unreal.
Yeah, you have to do like less twisting.
It's just, you don't have to twist your foot.
More
You
intuitive.
can kind of just come straight out of it. As you can see, I mean, if I can do it with my hand, it's pretty easy to do it with your foot. That's a big improvement. Really like those a lot. There's no like clicking sound. I used to ride in the trees and I hear the little clicking and it totally went away.
But again, everything in this system is not just about convenience. It's not just being able to get in. That's just the thing that's very, very nice about it. But if you've got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. You know, we want to make sure we get you into some rad gear, but you know, we want to make sure that you've got the right gear for you and your riding style. Also make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. And yeah, whether you like the softer boots, the stiffer bindings, or whatever, grab yourself a pair of StepOns and get out and ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.